fresh pastas, they lend themselves to a variety of flavors, textures, and shapes. Today, my friend Dominic and I are going to share a couple of our homemade pasta doughs and a couple of our go-to sauces to accompany them. Homemade pasta, fresh, simple, delicious. Today on DFBN. So I'm back here at Amoroso's restaurant with my friend Dominic.
Hello.
And so today we're gonna make a couple of our homemade pastas. And I'm gonna do a spinach pasta, spinach whole wheat. And so the first thing I need to do is get my spinach. I have some fresh baby spinach, so I'm gonna blanch it and shock it and get that ready. So I'm gonna show them how to do that, and then we'll start your dough.
Excellent.
Okay. So I have a pot of water on here that I'm already got to a boil, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt to the water, flavor the spinach a little. And then I'm just dropping my baby leaf spinach into the pot. And then I have an ice bath here waiting for it to come out.
What is the ice bath for?
The ice bath, after I want to make the leaves tender, and then I drop it into the ice bath, which is called shocking it, so that it holds that green color.
Excellent.
And stops the cooking.
Not that I don't know, I just want to make sure that everybody else knows.
I know you know that, Dominic. So this really only takes a few seconds to get this done. And then I have my ice bath right here. And I'm just gonna drop it in. And this immediately stops the cooking, because you don't want it to cook down too much, especially a baby leaf green like this. It doesn't need much cooking.
You're doing a very nice job.
Thank you. I have to get all of these little ones out of here.
Those are the best ones.
Yes. All right, I guess we can turn that off now.
No, it's this one.
Okay. All right, so while I'm going to just drain my spinach, and then I'm going to chop it up a little, why don't you get going on your pasta? Because you're going to make a hand-rolled pasta,
My
right?
pasta is very easy. It's really, this goes back in times. We're going to make it with semolina, eggs, and olive oil. And we're going to let it sit for about 20 minutes to half hour to let that tender. And then we're going to shape it, cook it, and eat it. We're going to make a special sauce today with my pasta, which is going to be a carbonara. So let's get started. Here I have 2 pounds of semolina. I'm going to put it right on the table, and I'm going to mix it just like my mother used to do it. With this, we're going to create a little Vesuvio. So then we could drop our eggs right in there. As you see, we're going to need, this is 2 pounds of semolina. We're gonna need 6 eggs, 3 eggs per pound. So I'm just gonna break it right in, drop it.
Did you make pasta with your mom all the time?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, that was a way for us to stay nice and healthy. In Italy, we eat pasta every day, just like over here, you eat cereal every day. So this is a very important, as you know.
Yeah, but a homemade pasta is a lot better than cereal.
Oh, no doubt about it. But also, it has a lot of carbs, especially this dish that we're making. It's really high carbs, and it's got a high fattening also, but in Italy, that is common. That's how everybody eats. What I'm doing right now, I'm breaking up the eggs and start mixing some of the semolina right in. So by the time when we get done, in reality, I am going to need a little bit of oil, now that I have a chance to do so.
You want me to add a little?
Sure, go ahead. About a quarter of a cup.
good?
It's excellent. So by the time I get done mixing all this, there's going to be one clump.
That was your olive oil, right?
That was my olive oil, yes.
And the semolina's really kind of got a yellow color to it, as opposed
Not
to...
only a yellow color, also it's very hard when it goes through the grinding process. It does not come fine as the flour would.
Right.
So this is the finest they could get it. So as you see, a little bit at a time, I'm kneading it right in. And this is how my mother did it for years and years and years. Because in the old days, we did not have the machines that does all the hard work for us. As you see, I'm bringing it in a little bit at a time.
And probably as a child, you liked messing around with that, right?
Yeah. What kind of a kid
That
don't
was
like to
your
play with the
Play-Doh,
dough?
right?
Exactly. So this was part of my job to do in order for me to pitch in, so the way we could have a nice dinner at the end of.
I had to go down to the river.
Wow, you're back already. That's a pretty good one. So we're gonna add just a little bit of water to it. And it's very common, adding water to it if your pasta does not come together. However, this should not be too loose. It should be just enough to form itself and hold it together. And the moisture between the eggs, the olive oil, and
Yeah, it's
the
very
water.
simple ingredients when it comes to pastas.
It is. And it is the most common one. Actually, this recipe is the same one that you buy in the store. That's why it looks yellow, because it's
Right.
made with semolina.
But isn't it interesting that, it's just these few simple ingredients, but the way you cut the pasta can actually alter the flavor.
That's
it doesn't
correct.
even, or the texture, I suppose, not the flavor, but
Not only the
I know my
texture,
kids sometimes they wouldn't eat like linguine, but they would eat spaghetti,
and it's the same
And
exactly.
it's the same thing, same recipe.
So the other thing is, what happens is, because they have a different shapes, is because there's different sauces with
Right.
them. The spaghetti goes very well with the marinara sauce, holds it together. If you are to make rotini and you will make pesto sauce, that will hold the pesto into the spaghetti and into the rotini altogether.
Right.
So that's what we're looking for. Today,
See, that little water did the trick,
Yeah.
pulling it all together. Well,
We're gonna let it sit.
I think while you're kneading yours, I'm gonna start mine.
go ahead.
Okay. Mine, I'm not using semolina flour. Today I'm actually gonna use a whole wheat flour and a little white flour. And I'm gonna use my food processor because I can. So right here, I have about 3 1/4 cups of whole wheat flour that I'm adding to that. And this is about 1 1/4 cups of white flour. And then I'm also going to add just like a teaspoon of kosher salt. And I'm going to just combine the flours. And then I have my drained, and I chopped, because the leaves were full when I first started blanching this, I chopped them up a little bit. So now I'm going to add my spinach. And this is where you can really add different flavors to your pastas. I've done sun-dried tomato. You could put some basil in there, some fresh basil. So we're gonna mix that up again, kind of get the spinach all incorporated in there. And then while the motor's running, I'm gonna just drop my eggs in. And I have 5 eggs here. Sometimes I use 5, sometimes I use 4. It's kind of like Dominic when he was getting his dough going, he added a little more water. So you kind of want to watch it and see how it comes together. And that's all I use in mine, so those few ingredients. You can see it's already starting to form a ball in here. Maybe we'll get away with 4. I don't know, we'll see. That's 4 eggs. And I do finish this with I knead mine a little bit too at the end. I don't do it all in the food processor. So I am going to use all 5 eggs. Come on, baby.
You might need some more.
I don't know if I want to go any more, Dominic. Yeah, I do. I'm going to steal one of Dominic's eggs.
Go right ahead. We got plenty. While you add any other eggs in it, once my dough is at this stage, we're going to let it sit for about a half an hour so that way the semolina can soften it up, because the semolina is so hard grained. And after that, we can start stretching it. As it sets up, you want to put cellophane around it so the way it stays all together and it sweats within. What I mean by sweats within, all the moisture concentrate on the semolina itself, and then we're ready to make the pasta. So therefore, I'm going to go get some cellophane to wrap this up.
And now I'm going to knead my dough a little bit while...
As you see, while you're kneading your dough, I'm going to wrap mine up so that with all the moisture, I have a chance to work within, just like into a ball. Roll it right over and close it up.
We can probably get the pasta machines ready.
Sure.
While
refrigerator is an option. If you want to leave it in the refrigerator, also by leaving it in the refrigerator, it's going to make the dough hotter. I believe for me leaving it out for about 20 minutes, half hour the most, we'll be ready. Well, that's getting ready. I'm going to set up my pasta machine.
Okay.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Doing a good job there. See, I'm a one-hander. You're a two-hander.
I am a two-hander.
I love this. This is a competition. I love it.
That's how my grandmother kneaded. And the spinach really adds a nice color to this. And then the sauce I'm going to use is really going to contrast it. So my pasta is all set as well. And I have a machine similar to Dominic's, so I'm going to set up my machine and then we will get ready to roll out our dough.
Do you know what? As we set up these machines, once I stretch my dough, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 1, maybe 2 sheets by hand. And so the way you see the old days how it was done. Because nowadays not everybody have the machines. So for you folks at home, it gives you a chance just to cut it at home the way you need to. And I think that will be the best thing for this type of knowledge, because not everybody has a pasta machine at home. So I am ready. I'm waiting for the dough.
All right. So we've let our doughs rest. Yours is rested, mine is rested. And you really rest them, let that gluten kind of stretch out, right? I do that when I'm baking bread as well. I let
That's correct.
Let the dough, let the glutens kind of relax and be happy and all of that. And so Dominic's gonna make spaghetti and I'm gonna make fettuccine, but we're gonna let Dominic run through first so we can see how he does his. And
well, it's very simple. I'm gonna start with unwrapping it. Let this breathe a little bit, because this is saying, let me out, let me out. As you see, it's sticky, it's nice and soft. So the first thing I want to do is put some flour down, so that way it will not stick to the bottom. With this, we can put this on the side, and I'm gonna cut a small amount of it. Get the flour, we put this in the corner, and we're gonna start stretching it. So I'm guessing how much each sheet's gonna be. Now the other thing is, this type of semolina cannot stay out in the air too long, because instantly it's gonna start to dry.
right.
So we're gonna use that, and we're gonna use the cellophane that we wrapped it around to cover it up, so that way it will not dry up on us while we're working on this guy. Just by pressing it down, putting a little flour on it. And we're going to use our stretching machine. We're going to put the stretching machine to number 5. And really got to turn it. And this is your stretching dough. What I like to do is the first one, which is going to make the fettuccine, I like to cut the first one by hand. This is how we used to do it back home. And you could do this at home. It doesn't have to be exactly the same.
It's kind of cool when it's different sizes anyway.
It is. It's authentic.
You know, let you know it's homemade.
Yep.
And
As you can see, we have, there's one, and it is all different. You can see the different sizes that we're making, and that's what makes this pasta so special, because it's not made by a machine, nor is made by any other equipment. So with
other than
this,
your hands.
with
Beautiful.
this will go right in the water and will get baked. Baked in one way, in the hot water. I love my terminology. So we're gonna put this on the side. My next one is going to be spaghetti.
And now once you cut that, you can just let it kind of
You
sit
can
out
just
and
let
dry.
just let it sit out and dry. The flour is gonna protect it, and it's gonna be just fine. With the spaghetti, it's gonna be a little bit different, because like this size of pasta here is gonna dry up. We want the spaghetti not to dry right away. We want them to be clumped up, and the water is gonna do its job. So, with that said, let me get another piece, and we're gonna squish it down, put a little bit of flour on it, so that it will not be sticky in the machine. The machine is already set on number 5. We're gonna run it through it. As you see, at times you get the ripples. So therefore, we're gonna crush it back together, and we're gonna work our way to number 5. So we're gonna start at 0. These are, in case you run into the problems at home, from 0, we're gonna go to 2.
That's usually how I do my pasta. I start it right at 1, and then I work my
And
way
you
up
work
to
your
the
way up.
thickness I want.
Usually, I'll be able to go right to number 5 without a problem. This
And
is
it
the
did, came
achievement
out
that you
perfect
want.
that time.
Once you get to this point, now we're ready to, in reality, we're gonna need some flour on both sides, because now, since we mixed it again, it's a little bit sticky. And the last thing we want is the pasta to stick together. So we're gonna turn it over, and we're gonna make sure that we have plenty of flour on both sides. If you have too much flour on it, what happens is when you're cooking it, it will stick together and it becomes one big mush. That's when you're gonna throw it all away. So any excess flour, you wanna shake it off. Being at this point, I'm gonna be switching over. And I'm ready to make spaghetti. Let's move this stuff.
And these machines are relatively easy to use, don't you
Very
think?
easy, very, very easy to use.
And it goes pretty fast.
As you see, is my spaghetti coming out. With this, you could just get it all together without pressing it together, and you just make a little mount. I'm sorry if that is in your way. So as you see, I'm gonna make another one, and I'm gonna keep moving with that, so that way we could do this whole thing.
It comes out beautiful, doesn't it?
Yeah, I happen to like spaghetti, happen to be my favorite. So we're gonna switch back to 0, switch the handle, and we're gonna go to number 2. And I think from number 2 we could go right to number 5, because we already have halfway through. Then we're gonna put the flour on it. As you see, there's no ripples inside. Flour on both sides.
And the thing about making pasta, it's really good to make it with a crowd. It's a good party thing to do,
Oh,
right? Because
definitely.
I mean, you
The
can make
kids,
a
oh my.
huge amount of dough, and then you can send everybody home with some pasta and make some
Furthermore,
sauces.
If you have kids, kids love making pasta.
I know, it's fun.
It's fun. It keeps them entertaining throughout the day. So here we go. I'm ready. Ooh. As you see, the dies of the machine automatically is making spaghetti for me. As you can see, they're nice and loose all the way through. So I grab them in the middle and I make a little mound. And this is how I grab them and put them in the water in order for them to cook.
Right, almost a serving size right there.
Exactly.
Perfect.
2 of these makes a serving size.
Well, that's a hefty serving size.
Well, that's me, yeah. Look at me, I'm getting all dirty. Wanting to work with flour.
That's how that's how you roll, right?
So this is what I'm gonna do today with this, is the spaghetti. And I'm just gonna keep going while you're stretching yours and.
All right. You do yours.
No, I want to watch you. I want to learn.
Okay,
You know
awesome.
what? I'll let a little wine while I'm watching you.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
That's fine, Dominic. So my spinach pasta dough is all set. And like Dominic said, you add a little more flour to it because you don't want it to stick through the machine. So I do the same thing. And then I make a long sheet because I like to do, that's how I like to do it. So I start on 1, I don't start on 5 typically. And the machine really just catches the dough as you're going through. And then as it's coming, you just keep pulling it out as so. And I get a nice long sheet. And like Dominic showed, it tears a little at first, and that to me just means I need a little bit more flour, and it needs to kind of come together a little bit more. So I fold it over, because you want the pasta to be strong when you don't want a weak pasta because otherwise it's just going to fall apart.
What if I turn the handle for you?
Go ahead.
You think it won't be the first time?
Do you know you got flour all over your nose?
That sounds good. It's all part of making pasta. The thinner, the higher the number. And you can use your judgment, because when you're making homemade pasta, you can never go wrong. You can make it any way you like it.
So now what I'm going to do, Dominic, if you want to just give me a cut right down the middle.
Cut right down the middle.
So then I have my 2 sheets here, and now I'm going to run it through my fettuccine. And we have the same machines, but there's different settings on these, and you can even get attachments and stuff to make different pastas too. So I'm using my fettuccine attachment. Okay, I'll let you wind again, Dominic. And you just let the dough catch in there. And there we go. Nice fettuccine. So mine's a little bit thicker than Dominic's, a little bit thicker in width and thickness. So I'm gonna set mine down too, and we'll run my other one through.
What a teamwork. It's all in there. This is awesome.
And it's even nice to plate the 2 of them together because they'll be pretty, right?
That's correct.
So there's my fettuccine. So we're going to continue finishing up our doughs and get them all ready, and then we're going to show you how to make a simple sauce to go on each of them.
Excellent.
All right. Okay, so Dominic and I have rolled out all of our spaghetti, fettuccine, and we're ready to make our sauce now. So I'm going to start my sauce. Mine's a real simple, just a garlic, tomato, a little red pepper. So I'm going to start by chopping up my garlic and try not to lose my wine while I'm at it. So I want my garlic chopped up very fine. And I don't want this to overpower the tomatoes because I got some nice ones, but I want it to flavor the olive oil that I'm going to cook this in. So I'm going to make a paste with it. So that's part of it. And the other thing I use to flavor this sauce is anchovies. And I know some of you are maybe a little cautious of using anchovies, but they really add a cool flavor to any sauce, and especially a sauce with very few ingredients. And they're going to actually kind of melt right down into your sauce, and you're not going to even know that they're in there. So I made kind of a little paste with them too. And then I'm gonna add some red hot pepper flakes, and that's gonna season my olive oil. So we'll get that going right now. So I'm gonna drop some olive oil down in my pan, and I'm gonna use a good amount because this is gonna cover my, my pasta as well. So in go my garlic and my anchovy, and then I'm going to drop in a little bit of red hot pepper flakes. And I'm only putting a little bit of these in. I mean, you can adjust as far as the heat that you would like. You know, I just want a little tiny bite to my pasta. I don't want the heat to overpower it. So I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit. And this is all going to be the flavor for the sauce. So Dominic, I'm going to use the red and the orange and yellow, kind of make it pretty.
Sure.
It'll go nice with the green, right?
Sure.
So I'm just going to do a kind of a chunky tomato for that. And you want to keep an eye on this because you don't want your garlic to burn. You want to be able to smell your garlic, but you don't want it to get brown or black. So just kind of keep an eye on it. If you feel it's gotten too hot, you can turn it down a little bit. But as soon as I drop my tomatoes in, it's going to bring the temperature down. And I like to make this sauce chunky because the fettuccine can hold up to it. The fettuccine is thick. It can withstand a thick sauce. So I'm going to start dropping in my tomatoes. And Dominic is almost done with his over there. So we'll drop them all in. I'll just drop yours in. And it's already got a really beautiful color. I'm going to season it with a little salt and a little pepper. And give it a toss. And pretty much my sauce is just going to hang for a few minutes. So, and then I'm going to finish it off with a few things, but you might as well get started on your sauce. Because mine's fine, just chilling for a little minute.
Let me grab my lighter, and the first thing we're going to do is talk about my sauce. I think most of you are quite familiar with a carbonara sauce. This is truly authentic carbonara sauce, which is a very simple sauce. The ingredients are pancetta, onions, and cheese, and raw eggs. However, pancetta is a little bit hard to find around here. If you don't have pancetta, you could always use bacon.
Don't fry bacon naked.
You're
Just
right.
saying.
That's part of our show today. So, therefore, I have some bacon already cooked and chopped. I'm about to turn that on. We're gonna have two different pans. One of them with bacon, the other one with onions. So let me start it with the bacon. And we don't want that too high. We want that in low part of it because the bacon is already cooked. We just want that. Is this the bacon? Remember, we're cooking 2 pounds of pasta. We want to make sure that has a very good balance. So therefore, we're going to put that on. My next one, it should be with onions. I cut up 1 large red onions, diced up. And I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'm going to use your olive oil.
Do you want me to move my pot?
No, you do not.
Don't have to?
No, you don't have to.
right.
What I'll do is I cook it in the back because when it comes time to assembly, actually this oil is going to be part of the sauce along with the eggs and everything else. So I'm going to put that in the back there. Actually, let me turn it this way So that way we're not gonna go, quick second, we're gonna put some onions in there. And we're gonna make sure that we're gonna soften up our onions. And
you're getting your bacon crispy.
very crispy. That's is part of, and what I'm looking for the bacon to sweat off the fat a little bit more than what already is. So therefore it creates that kind of a sauce that we're looking for. What
Are
happens
you going
is,
to spoon off any fat, or are you going to use it in the
we're
sauce?
going to use it all.
You're
We're
going to use
the whole, what's happening is with the onions create the sweetness that we're looking for, and the bacon creates that smokiness that we're looking for. And that's pasta carbonara in Italian means burnt pasta. That's what you get. So I'm going to stir this up. I want this to sweat on a high heat.
Well, while you're doing that, Dominic, I'm actually going to chop my basil, because that's one of the ingredients that I'm going to also add to my tomato sauce here. So I'm just going to gather a few basil leaves together. And what I like to do is I like to pile them, make a stack of them. So I just stack up my basil leaves, and then I kind of roll them like this. So I just kind of stack them up like so, and then I roll them up, and then I just put a thin cut, which is actually called a chiffonade if you wanted to know. But and I think I'm going to actually use some more basil, so I'm going to stack up more here. And I want mine to be I don't want those tomatoes to cook too long, because I want that chunkiness left in them. So as soon as Dominic's sauce is ready, we'll be dropping our pastas, because with fresh pasta, they don't need to cook as long as a traditional, like if you bought a store-bought boxed pasta. They really take a relatively short amount of time. How are your onions doing, Dominic?
The onions are doing almost fine. I think we're at the point of getting the onions and combine them with the bacon.
Okay.
And that would eliminate one step. So I'm literally going to get these. I'm going to put them in there. Combine these two together.
So now you have your onions and bacon together.
We have them together. We don't want them to burn.
And your bacon is nice and crispy.
Too crispy if you ask me right now. And we're getting ready to finish off our dish.
It's the only way my mom will eat bacon. It's crispy.
And it is the best way to do it. It has to have a crunch. Soft bacon, nobody like it, but the key is,
I love soft bacon.
don't fry it naked though.
Okay, I won't. That's not allowed in the
Leave
kitchen.
that to your imagination.
Yeah.
And as this is done, we're ready to put in our pasta. Our
So
pasta.
you have your pasta water is in the back, and we're not going to mix them because obviously we have two different pastas.
So
you're going to drop yours in your salted water,
If that's what you like to do.
and I've got mine in my salted water.
So we're about to do that.
And you're cooking up all of yours, correct?
Might as well.
Yeah.
The crew's gonna eat.
And really, pasta just takes about 3 minutes, don't you think, Dominic? Yours might take a little less because it's the spaghetti and it's a little thinner.
It's gonna take a lot less than that because it's so thin. And hopefully we did not wait too long because otherwise it's gonna come out all sticky.
So while my pasta is cooking, I'm going to add my fresh basil to my sauce. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drop the hot pasta right into my sauce. And it's all going to cook together. So So my pasta is in the sauce. I'm going to give it a toss, kind of get it all incorporated there. The tomatoes are still really nice and chunky. The pasta looks really nice, came out perfect. The other thing that I like to add to this sauce, especially because it's a summery sauce, and just like to add a little zip, I do lemon zest at the end, and that's how I finish the sauce. And I usually use a whole lemon, and I just want to get that yellow part. I don't want any white. Tap it in there, give it a final toss. That's all she wrote. I'm done.
That looks very good. It actually looks amazing. Let me start.
Time to rock and roll, right?
Let me start mine, because mine is a little, it's just as easy as that, but we're going to start with the raw eggs. Anytime you use raw eggs, the heat of the pasta itself, don't be afraid of this, while they're going to cook the eggs. So we're going to drop 3 eggs.
And you don't have to scramble them first. You just put them in whole like that.
Them in like that. And all the mixtures of the bacon and the onions, nice and hot. It goes in here.
And your pasta is super hot because it just got drained, and that's what's going to cook the egg.
It's got to be nice and hot. If it's not hot, put it back on the fire, let it get nice and hot. You want this hot stuff going on. So with the eggs, now you break the yolk.
It smells delicious, Dominic.
And you just got to mix this all up. As you're mixing it, you want to make sure everything gets coated. You might say, well, it disappeared. No, it did not. Actually, you might need a couple more eggs.
Do you need me to get you some more eggs, just in case?
I think we're going to be okay.
Okay.
One last thing. The most important part of this dish is some pecorino romano cheese. This is going to give the texture that we're looking for. And don't be skimpy on this, because this is going to give that extra taste to it.
This is a decadent dish.
And it's going to be...
So we actually balanced ourselves out today, right?
We did. With that
a little healthy and a little decadent.
This is definitely not
a little naughty, a little nice.
So as you see, the cheese is going to start melted.
Oh yeah.
It's going to start being combined, the whole thing
together.
Together.
It smells delicious, Dominic.
And it's part of the bacon. That's the onions.
Oh yeah, definitely,
and
right?
Usually the carbonara pasta, we don't make it with spaghetti. But since this spaghetti is my favorite,
that's why you wanted to try it?
I wanted to try it out.
So what do you typically use? What kind of pasta?
You usually use penne.
Oh, you use penne.
Penne is the most incumbent to do carbonara with. But if you look at this right now, you see that the pasta is almost like sticking together. If it was cold, it would stick together. Since it's hot, it stays separate. This dish, you don't want to waste no time. You want to mix it, you want to put it on the dish, and you want to eat it. The longer you wait, the less tasty it's going to be.
Right.
This is so tasty, your mouth is going to say, wow, you're sending me to a roller coaster here. What's happening?
You think so?
Oh, yes.
All right.
I had this
It's going to be like the Superman?
Uh-huh. Or even better.
So
Italian man.
Take a ride on the Italian man?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right, so I should get some plates for us so we can serve up our dinner.
Definitely.
Okay. Dominic, we plated up both of our pastas, and obviously like such a different contrast.
Oh my God, yours looks delicious. My eyes are already tasting it.
So it's, I thought I would like have a colorful pasta with the tomatoes and everything, and then I wanted to show that I had basil in there and also lemon, because I used the lemon zest, and most people wouldn't know that ordering the dish right away. But
it looks awesome.
And then yours, just beautiful, and I know it's going to be so decadent.
Well, mine is more represents what the dish is, such as all the ingredients that were in there. It just makes a nice little nest of pasta, but it's very tasty. The combination of the eggs and the cheese and the pasta being so hot puts it all together. As it cools off, it stays together. That's why you see it, such a tower of it. but at the same time, I'm kind of hungry.
Me too. Digging in?
Yes.
You trying
please.
mine?
I will love
All
to.
right, I'll try yours.
Because, this is something different, and this reminds me of the summertime.
The summertime?
Summertime. Tomatoes, spinach, the lemon, the mix it fresh. I want to get a little bit of everything. A little bit of
Yes.
tomato, a little bit of.
And I'm digging into your nest. And I've got plenty of bacon in there and a little bit of
yes.
onion. And generally more than a mouthful than I can handle, but I'll take it on.
My God. Summertime all the way.
Is it a roller coaster?
Yours is delicious, Dominic.
all the flavors are dancing in my mouth. Definitely
is-
got to try this at home. Definitely.
And
Not
this
a-
one's so creamy. Like, it's just a creamy.
You wouldn't think like that. You would be worried that the eggs would,
I don't know. They wouldn't be. It'd be chunky or whatever. But it's so creamy and delicious. It's perfect.
Again, and I don't mean to repeat myself, the reason why it gets creamy is because the eggs are raw, and once they hit the heat of the pasta, they literally cook it through,
and make a nice
and it
creamy
makes a
sauce.
nice creamy sauce. That's what
Beautiful.
holds this whole dish together.
All right.
And with that,
Here's to another fabulous collaboration.
I want to thank you very much for me having on your show, and
No problem.
I hope we do a lot more than this.
All right, let's dig in.
Thank you. Yes, I will.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.